Welcome to Gigantica, one of holiday carp fishing's most famous and prestigious venues, and one that I've fished several times in the past. I was here back in August into September making a film for Carp Fix. We had 2 fish that week that was relatively tough, but a 54-pound common and a 48. It's now May, and I've only ever fished here once before at this time of year. And to be honest, it's a good time of year, but there's always the worry that being a deep lake, the fish can be off the bottom. But that said, I was here last May, filming for Corda and done really well. Can't wait to get started. Always, like I say, a little bit anxious, but let's get to it.
Mate, there's loads of them. Loads of them. Literally loads. Look. Look. You see them? Look, there's about 10. Look, 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 look. Oh, big one, big one, big one, big one. Big one. Right. Just managed to get into the swim. Park the van round there. Haven't got the gear out yet, but just come to look in the tree line, and they're literally coming past every few seconds. Like one, there's a massive one right there, right now. Oh, and they're coming past every few seconds. It's going to be tricky fishing. You know, by the looks of it, they're very much hugging really tight to the margin. You're going to need to be super tight. Haven't worked out how I'm going to do that just yet, but yeah, super exciting to get a swim, see fish in it. Yeah, just can't wait to get started. That's naughty. Hurry, you can. Oh yeah, that's sturdy.
Welcome to the tree line swim. It's a swim that I've never fished before, so I don't know much about it. However, on the walk around, I noticed that the water was a little bit coloured round here. Noticeably more coloured than in other swims as we had the walk round. Come look at the colour of the water. On top of that, we're forecast northeasterly winds for the majority of the week that push into this corner. And although Gigantica has got a bit of a reputation as a long range venue where you need to be casting towards the middle, I don't think that sits true all year round. It might be true in the later months, the autumn and the winter as such, but in the spring I think the corners and the upper layers are probably the best areas. It's generally a pretty deep lake, you know, 25 foot most of the lake, that sort of depth. And being a deep lake, it takes a little while to warm up. So the shallower margins, the upper layers tend to warm up quicker. And I do think the corners and the edges are probably the best bet. Now, obviously there's a draw involved and you never know what swim you're going to get. And tree line was actually my first pick and I drew ball 7. Now I was, yeah, very nervous, but at the same time I thought there was a decent chance that I might get that swim. As it happened, my 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 all went, so all my next order swims had gone. Everyone had the same ideas, that the edges in the corners were probably the best bet, but the tree line didn't go. So we've got the tree line, been round, had a look in the trees, and there's a lot of fish around there, a lot of fish. Mainly small ones like stockies, but the odd bigger one, and that's why the water's coloured, because there's a load of fish in here. Whether they'll stay is another matter. You know, they've got the whole lake to just disappear off into if they like, but now I've got the conundrum of how am I going to get my rods in well without scaring them off. Now, I want to be tight to that tree line on at least 2 of the rods. And normally I would just cast out, clip up, edge my way in tight to the trees, but it would take me quite a few casts, you know, hit the clip, splosh, hit the clip, splosh. You know, you'll be talking probably 20 casts or more to get it exactly where you want it on a few rods. So I'm thinking what might be a better course of action is to go round there with a baiting pole, ship the baiting pole out off the bank, and if it's far enough off of the trees, come back to the swim and cast a bare lead over the baiting spoon, and then pull the lead into the margin and attach a solid bag and just drop it in the edge. It sounds good in theory, but in practice it might not be possible. I'm not sure if the pole will be far enough off the bank, etc, etc, but I'm going to try that first. I'm going to try shipping that out across the surface, leaving it there, casting a bare lead from here over the top and retrieving it. But like I say, that plan is open to change should it not work very well. Might be better just to cast it in here, tight. But it's going to involve some bombing. Oh, there's a carp coming in. Right, let's have it in from here. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. That was a no-go. Well, it never goes quite as smoothly as you'd hoped. The best laid plans and intentions to use the baiting spoon to make it all minimal disturbance and whatnot, but yeah, I couldn't get the pole that far enough. So I've ended up casting. I've done about 6 or 7 casts with the solid bag on the left one. It's only 20 wraps, but to get it exactly where you want it, it's a tricky cast, especially when on the first day when you're rushing around. Maybe if you'd had a few on it and you're in the zone, it might go out there a bit smoother, but yeah, a little bit of a western on that. I've plumbed further down the tree line and I found another spot towards a tall tree, very tight to the bank where I've seen fish. To make the casting a little bit less stressful, I've put a stiff hinge on that for the time being. I don't normally use pop-ups here, normally fish sort of with wafters on the bottom, but I'm going to give it a go. It's spring, pop-ups normally are the go-to in spring, so I'm just going to give it a go for tonight. I've only baited up with pellet, just loosely, just thrown a few pellets out with a scoop, a few by hand and whatnot. But yeah, I'm gonna leave the third rod in. I'm a bit, I don't know, feel a little bit, I got a bit excited, like a little bit way, a little bit woe. And just, yeah, I'm gonna sit on my hands, quite happy with these 2 rods. They're fishing. I'm gonna have a tidy up, get my gear in order, and we'll see what happens. What a difference 24 hours can make. Yesterday, loads of fish swimming along that tree line, cloudy water, looked epic, and I was very, very excited getting the rods out yesterday. Probably too excited, got myself in a right old tiff, but what a difference 24 hours can make, or even less. Woken up this morning, the sun's not out, it's overcast, it's a bit gloomy. Been round to the far side with my Polaroids, not seen any fish. The water looks noticeably clearer, and I'm feeling a little bit stranded. It really feels like there's no fish here at all. That's what it feels like. On the contrary to that, The guy in Stock Pond at the opposite end, he's caught one. The guy in Big Girls, he's caught one also. So they're both fishing margin swims like this, but they are seeing fish up there. I nipped up to the toilet and left Ash with the rods this morning, and just while I was having a 5-minute conversation, I must have seen 20 fish jump at that end of the lake. And furthermore, they've said they've heard them all night long. Not very far out, sort of 15 wraps, that sort of range, 10, 15 wraps, not very far, 60 yards. And there's only one swim free on the whole lake, pole position, and I've seen several fish jump there. So it's a really difficult one. You know, I wanted an edge swim, I've got an edge swim, but there's a free swim up there with fish jumping. The wind's forecast to blow into there pretty strongly the next few days. And I'm just feeling like I should move. And I'd rather make a decision and regret it than not make a decision at all and just sort of sit here hoping they'll come back. There's fish there now. I think I'm going to move and get around there and try and fish for them.
On the move.